So I would like to start by just sharing quick background about cancer and my life. As you mentioned, that I was a creative professional for a couple of decades. And then 10 years ago, I got diagnosed with cancer. And as I'm sure many people who are joining this webinar today, they have also experienced what a tsunami a cancer diagnosis is to your life and to your family's life. And so I fully understand that. And I just want you to know that I have lived it, survived it, recovered from it. And, we are not, Rajiv and I, we are husband and wife. We're not just standing, but we're now wanting very much to share some tools and strategies and the path forward for you. So, don't think that a cancer diagnosis has got to be the end of anything. It's not. It's just one in a series of challenges that life throws at us, right? And so, whatever I can share with you on this journey, I want to do that today. Let me start with sharing a deck. So today is like an overview of a system that we have developed to navigate this journey. So this is the short form. The long form will be a 7-part series that Anugya and Ethika will be doing a series of interactive sessions, not so much a webinar like today. And so that we want to build a community out of this, so that you have a place where you can learn. And another thing that Ethika is doing along with us, which is fantastic, is that we are creating a WhatsApp group as a support system. So, those of you who are going through this journey, we will be sharing the QR code at the end of this session. You just click that and you'll be directed to join this WhatsApp group where many tools, thoughts, healing strategies will be shared with you. And both these initiatives I might mention are free of charge. So this 7-part series is not going to cost you anything. Neither is the WhatsApp community support group, because that is our way of giving back, right? So what is chargeable is if you need any, more support in terms of healing and counseling and all that, then you can connect with me and Anugya later, right? So just setting that up for us. So we'll go straight into what we will cover today. When I was diagnosed, there were two questions that plagued me at night. One was, why me? Why did I get cancer? And the second corollary to that, how will I recover? Right? So these were the two questions that my life pretty much has been for the next 10 years. And Rajiv and I have walked this path together. So the first question is a little bit I will share with what my understanding is about what is the root cause of the disease. Cancer is a disease, it's not outside of the disease parameters. So, what causes disease? Second, how can we look at all of this in a holistic perspective? Because, as we well know, modern medicine is fantastic at many things. But the one thing they are not very good at is having a holistic perspective, which is to take the entire human being and the human being that exists in a society as part of what they are addressing, right? So they have all these silos and amazing research going on all over the world, but the larger perspective of us as human beings as part of a functioning family group or society has been left out. So that is what I call a holistic perspective, and that is what is very, very important in this journey of recovery. And third, I will share with you a 5-layered energy blueprint for cancer recovery, right? So, um, energy, you ask, where did energy come from? Um, so we will just come to that in a moment. So, a question very often asked and thought, I'm sure, by all of us is how come there are two people who are smokers, right? They could even be friends. They have similar lifestyles, similar jobs, similar environment in terms of nature, similar ages. And why is it that one person gets cancer and the other one doesn't? So here is where we need to open um, the vocabulary of trying to understand this and start talking about energy. So, what is energy, right? Energy is everything in the universe is energy, from every molecule in our bodies to the air around us, to the entire planet we live on, to the whole universe. It is all composed of energy. And it is constantly moving. And because it's moving, it can be channeled. So we are taking the smallest and the largest unit of the universe to try and understand our lives. Um, Energy is channeled, as you all know. I'm sure many of you are aware that the electricity that comes into our homes is nature's energy channeled from the rivers or some other burning some fuel, all of that. What we are doing is transforming one energy form into another and channeling it for our use. All sound has energy, right? And we listen to different forms of that energy in different frequency, different tonalities, and different subtleties. So all of that at the root is actually energy. So if that is the case, we need to remember something that our ancients have known for thousands of years. In fact, all ancient cultures everywhere in the world have been aware that there is an invisible body. So, what our body doesn't end where the skin ends. Actually, there is an energy field that this physical body inhabits, and that energy field and this body are co synchronous. They are correlated to the point where one depends on the other, right? So, this is called the aura. I'm sure many of you have heard of it in common parlance. It has other names. It's also called the biomagnetic field, bioplasmic body, energy body, etheric body. All of these terms are pretty much interchangeable, and they all refer to this invisible twin of us called the aura. So, this aura, just as the physical body has organs and blood vessels which connect all the organs, in the same way, the physical body has organs that are called chakras. Chakras, again, very much in the common use of language today. So, these start from inside the body and come outward, and they are what in actually interface with the world outside. And these chakras are connected, as I said, with what are called nadis. So you would have heard the same words either in Ayurveda or acupuncture, acupressure. So all the old systems of the world have understood this. But somehow, because the predominance of Western scientism, we have um, not been taking cognizance of this system. So, in case you need more convincing that the energy body and our physical bodies are connected, I'll just ask you to think through something that some experience you must have all shared, which is an incidence of road rage, right? You're driving along and somebody just cuts in front of you with this lot of aggression, right? And what happens, right? You stop your vehicle, the other person stops their vehicle, and before any words are exchanged, you can feel changes in your physical body, right? They can vary from ears turning red, mouth becoming dry, stomach becoming tight. And once you start engaging, even without the words, what is happening is these energies are colliding, this aggression, this violence, and you're feeling that, right? And so is the other person. And that is why you see heartbeats go up, people's volume of speech becomes more and more, right? So, what has happened? The energy of that aggression has made physiological changes in our body. A similar thing happens in a nice way. So, if you meet, your somebody you find very attractive, different things happen, right? You get tongue tied, cheeks might turn flushed. So, anytime there is, these are just heightened emotions that I'm pointing to, but actually, the same thing is happening at all levels. So, all emotion and thought is a form of energy, and it is reflected in the physical body, and vice versa. And so that on a day to day basis, if we just bring our thought to this, we will understand how intricately emotions, thoughts are connected at a physiological level with us. Because the body starts secreting different hormones, and before you know it, whole lot of changes have happened. Now, how does this impact health and wellness, right? So, thoughts and emotions, as I said, have energy. So, this energy comes in a form. It has it's like a bundle of energy. And each energy has different frequencies. So, which is why you can see on the screen that, there are different kinds of illustrations. So, different energies. There are loving energies, there are energies of anger, hate, all the various other emotions. So these are what we live with on a daily basis. As we interact with the world, our aura and our physical body are interacting with this. Now, as we all know, life nowadays is pretty stressful, right? We all, starting from the morning to work, back at home, family issues, disagreement with the neighbor, whatever, right? There's a lot of stress in life. So these stress energies collide and enter your aura. Once they are in the aura, they start to create an energy imbalance. Now, that oval you see is a perfectly balanced oval, but it doesn't stay like that. That is what we aspire to. We aspire to that beautiful, clean aura and physical body. And if you see, babies, we all love babies. Why? Because they have such beautiful energies, right? They haven't been through any of this. They have not had their energy fields distorted. And but as we interact with society, with our work and everything, all these things happen. And so what is happening is there is an imbalance being created in the energy field instead of it being soft and beautifully balanced. So we lose balance in the aura, and then slowly it starts reflecting in our physical body. So, some early symptoms of imbalance are some things on a day to day basis we all have had, for some time. We are unable to sleep, so we go through insomnia, or we have headaches every now and then. Hair fall, sometimes lots more hair is falling, sometimes it's not. Sometimes we get these jitters, muscle ache, and then there's no sort of real reason for these things, right? I mean, there's no test which can say that, oh, you have insomnia because this thing is out of kilter. There's no blood work or investigation which can be done, because it is merely at the level of energy imbalance. So this we have all faced, right? It comes and by and large it goes away. So, but what happens when it doesn't go away? There are many people who live at this very high peak of stress, anxiety, constant trauma. Say somebody is living in an abusive situation at home. Right now, that is every day. Every day it's getting built layer upon layer, and it's not being addressed. In that case, what happens? In that case, we see chronic disease, even tumors. So, after a long and sustained assault by these stressors, the disease manifests physically, because what has happened? The chakras and the energy channels have got congested. So the energy is not flowing well. And then that energy, which was very vital, say for instance, to our heart, right? To the heart, to the lungs, to the chest cavity. If you don't breathe well, you're not getting enough oxygen. Slowly, slowly, the blood vessels also start getting impacted. And then over a period of time, it manifests as maybe heart disease, right? And as we are seeing, so many people nowadays have hypertension, heart disease, clogged arteries. All of this starts at an energetic level, and then, sure enough, it will manifest at a physical level where it becomes visible to the eye and to the investigations that are done in the hospital or to the blood pressure machine. So now that we understand how energy is disrupting the balance of our stress, sorry, is disrupting the balance of our energy bodies and then manifesting as issues in our physical body. So, this leads us to conclude that disease can be either physical or etheric. Etheric means caused by, energy causes, emotional or karmic in origin. So, what we will talk about, what I want to address in today, is the emotional and etheric issues, because those are in our control, right? So, negative emotions like anger, guilt, grief, trauma, hatred, these are very, very strong emotions which have very destructive energies. And if they are not dealt with, they are not released from our system, they can cause disease. But there is hope for this, right? So, for this, it's in our control. So, going forward, there are action points that we can slowly integrate into our lives and start managing all of this. Because if we are letting negative energy make a home in our body, we can also shed it. Because energy, as we know, can be channeled. And the first step to do this is an understanding of energy principles. So we need to make a shift in our understanding of disease, understanding of our physiologies, understanding of the life we lived in terms of energy. So earlier, if we were weighing, like when we are very particular about our diets, right? We look at the uh, kcal, protein, how much fat is there, how much whatever. So those are measures of that we are using to try and follow a healthy diet. So for the overall holistic perspective, we need to look at everything in different energy terms. Hmm? So if this is the first step, we start understanding everything from this point of view. And what this does is that it does something very powerful, which happened in my life. Because when, after my surgery, after my first radical surgery, in fact, I contacted an energy healer because years before I had heard about energy healing, and I was very, very like devastated, right, physically and otherwise. So I contacted this energy healer and I started getting healings done for myself. And after a little while, the whole stormy clouds in my mind started to clear, and I started to think little better. And that's when Rajiv and I embarked on this journey of trying to understand how does this work? Because we most of us live this very rationalist life, things that modern science has explained to us. So we started studying all of this and got hooked. Okay. And what it did, why did it hook us? Because, first of all, it gave us a framework to understand our issues, the disease and emotions and lived life in. And second, it was very empowering because it made us understand that, look, if I do this, I can create a shift in my energy body. I know now what are the steps to start to balance my energy body so that I can go back to balance and not let the body get any worse. So, the empowerment is the next step, which I highly recommend to everybody who's going through this, because remember, it's in our hands, and once we take something in our hands, it's makes us stronger, much better, much faster. So, out of this has evolved a blueprint for recovery from cancer, which I will be sharing in great detail in the 7-part series. It's called Up, and each aspect will be shared in greater detail. And by and large, it has 5 layers that we need to be cognizant of, right? So I talked about how we need to shift our perspective, bring in new vocabulary, bring an awareness, bring to our awareness, start looking at things a little differently. And the goal is to bring us back to balance, because once we are in balance, we are healthy, we are happier, our minds work better, we are, don't react, but we respond. So, by following these 5 layers, we take control of our own life and are not in reactive mode, just, living moment by moment in a scattered sort of way and going with the wind wherever it takes us. Okay, so we'll go through these one by one. First of all, is energy healing. So I just mentioned to you how it really helped me recover faster from my radical surgery. So it's based on very simple principles. One is that our body is designed to self heal, right? We know this, small things happen. We are able to deal with cuts and small burns. We get an infection, we get a flu. By and large, we manage. However, when things go out of our control, then we need outside help, right? So that's when we go to the doctor. In the same way, when our energy body is completely out of kilter, we go to an energy healer, an experienced energy healer who can help us, bring the train back to the tracks. So, an example I'd like to share here is that if you get a cut on your finger, normally it takes about 25 days to heal. But with the application of energy healing, it can heal in twice or thrice faster. So, in about 9 days, with the application of healing, this can happen. So, what is energy healing? It is a holistic system where all of our invisible body, physical body, emotional body, all of these are involved and dealt with. So, all these energies are cleansed and energized in a protocol driven remote system. So, and of course, when it comes to cancer, of course, it's has to be done by certified, very advanced energy healers. So, energy healing clears. Remember, I said how energy channels, chakras get congested, they get blockages, right? So, once those are cleaned, what happens is the energy flows beautifully, and that allows cells to regenerate. Our immunity goes up, right? And mentally, we feel much calmer. And this system works alongside whatever allopathic treatment is going on because it's not invasive in any way. It's just helps you also recover from the side effects of chemo, radiation, all of that, because those are pretty devastating to the body. And we need to, and they kill our immunity. So, with remote healing, our immunity gets the boost it needs to actually make it through the entire cycles of chemo or whatever, right? And then you don't have to travel anywhere. So that's the other beauty of this system. Second layer are very important tools and practices that can be integrated into our life without much effort, which is meditation. What meditation does, I'm sure many of you are practitioners of some kind. What meditation does, it manages our energy body hygiene. So if we are regular with our meditation, all the daily stress energies, all those negative energy thought forms, negative energy emotional forms that we saw in the previous diagram, they are flushed out on a daily basis. So we are very good with our physical hygiene, right? We all shower every day, we shampoo, we moisturize, we do all of that, but we do none of the above for the energy body. Whereas the energy body also needs hygiene. It also needs to be cleansed. It also needs to be strengthened, to be moisturized, and to be looked after. But we haven't been doing that. But with meditation, we take like a spiritual shower every day. And so we are able to do that. Then there are these very powerful affirmations, again, good practices to bring in positive energies rather than, because if we have lots of positive energy in us, we repel the negative energy. So sometimes, we all talk about how some people are very toxic or you walk into a toxic environment. But if we strengthen our energy body, we are able to handle the toxicity in the environment and of other people as well, because it's like if you have strong muscles, you'll arm wrestle someone, you'll win. So in the same way, we do that with the energy body. The law of karma also very important to understand. And another thing I found very useful, because of course I've been a creative person, I was an artist for many decades, is that creative pursuits have very strong healing power as well, right? So, whatever appeals to you, whether it's drawing, singing, playing an instrument, painting, whatever you like to do, embroidering, make sure that you build that into your life. As a regular practice, because that creativity really heals. It also helps balance the energy bodies. I used to do very fine watercolor work, but after my surgery, I found I didn't have the strength to sit and do that kind of work, which was very frustrating for me. So, what I did was I just took all these boxes, packing boxes that come, I bought wall paint and brushes, big fat brushes, and just started painting those boxes, just so I could feel that I'm painting and had the tactile healing energies of the brush and the paint and all of that. So, be creative in your choice of creative pursuit. Third layer, very important, proper nutrition, diet, and exercise, which I think by and large most people nowadays are pretty cognizant. Um, so balance your meals with your fat, carbs, proteins, all of that. I advise meditation and breathing every day, daily exercise, 30 minutes. And as far as diet goes, I think it's very particular to each culture and each human being. Some people like salad, some people hate raw food, so but make sure whatever it is doesn't come out of a box, that it's fresh, and local. Whatever is of the season, whatever is growing in our region is the best thing for us. Of course, we can all do an indulgence here and there every now and then, but by and large, a fresh, balanced diet is the way to go. Fourth, of course, proper medical treatment. And here, I mean, I'm sure all of us are getting the best specialists that we have access to. But one thing we often forget is that the hub of this spoke of wheels is a general physician. We need a general physician to guide us. We cannot rely only on specialists, because specialists work in silos, right? If you go to a heart specialist, they only look at your heart. They're not going to see is your gut causing the problem to the heart, right? But a general physician is very important for each family. And remember, in the old days, we used to call them family doctors. And there's a reason they were called family doctors, because they had a more holistic view of our health and wellness. Do your research, is my suggestion. Don't blindly follow instructions. And if follow your instinctive energy, if you feel uncomfortable about something you are being asked to do or you're not sure, get a second opinion. It doesn't cost that much. Get a second opinion, make up your mind, discuss with friends and family, and keep all your records properly organized. So this is, I think, what constitutes, proper attitude towards mainstream medicine. And the fifth one is a layer which is quite nuanced. It doesn't have straightforward uh, prescriptions for me to give. So I'll just take a moment and read a poem by the great Rumi. It's called The Guest House. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door, laughing, and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. So I'm sharing this poem for a couple of reasons. Because what happens is when we um, get such a debilitating, often debilitating, not for everybody, I'm not saying, disease, we start identifying with it. So, what Rumi in his wisdom is pointing to is that all these are just one more challenge that life throws at us, right? I mean, we're not put on this earth to have a great time. We are here to, for some larger purpose. And each challenge that comes helps us to grow into a better person, right? So if we approach it properly, which here means that don't identify with this. You are not the disease, you are not the cancer. Your body is just a host for the cancer, and it has brought emotions, pain, like everything else, right? None of this is me. It will come and it will go. So, with this little bit of detachment, we can tackle some issues that I'm seeing a lot nowadays, which is that we feel um, victimized, we feel shame, right? We don't want to tell people that I have cancer. This is pretty common, I've seen in India, right? So I'll just give you an example about this young woman whose husband had cancer. Young fellow, not very old, very strong, charismatic man. He was recovering from stomach cancer. And he was doing well, but he got into a deep depression. He couldn't get out of bed, didn't want to meet anybody. And the entire burden of managing his emotions and the treatment all fell on his wife. And because she couldn't talk about it, she herself was going into a deep depression. So finally, she reached out to her neighbors and found that they actually supported her and they talked to her about energy healing. And so she got healing done for her husband, which really helped him come out of it emotionally, which again, of course, had a big impact on his physical healing as well. So the point here is that it's good to reach out. Not everybody will be supportive, but at the same time, we do find out who our real supports in life are, right? Sometimes we have people who, many friends, we call them friends, but when it comes down to brass tacks, many of them are not there for us. But in this way, we do find out. So think about what you would do if you were in Anita's position, whom would you reach out to? And activate the family and the community. Don't feel shame about this because you are not alone. See, we are all connected beings, right? We are connected. Our souls are connected. Our families are there. Friends are there. We all are connected by bonds. So don't suffer in silence because it only makes things worse. So join communities, like I mentioned, the support group, Ethika and Anugya, we have started. It's a WhatsApp community. Join that. You can be quite anonymous on that. You can speak to friends who you feel might be sympathetic. Reach out to them. Because the other thing that can happen is not just, emotional support, having someone to speak to. You can actually bring them in to help break up all the activities that need to be done. So I remember for me, there was one friend who was in charge of taking me to the follow up hospital visits. There was another friend who managed the evening visiting hours, right? Because people would call and I wasn't able to speak to everybody. So she managed that, okay, today so and so can come, today so and so can come. There was a third person who, when Rajiv was not in town or traveling, then that person would help manage the menu for the house. So all that makes the burden a shared one. And actually, I shouldn't call it a burden because when we are working together like that as a team that's supporting each other, we are creating a beautiful, strong entity. Because what happens is that these group energies, they feed upon each other. So, what was this one person in a little pod, suddenly it becomes like this whole vine this whole vine plant that is blossoming here, there, supporting each other, and becomes a beautiful bush. So do that. And when it comes to assigning responsibilities, don't forget any children you might have at home, because children quite often don't say things because they may not have the vocabulary, but they understand everything because they sense the energy, right? If the energy in the house has got disrupted by our disease, they get very, very disturbed. So if we pull them in, give them small responsibilities depending on how old they are. If it's a little 5-year-old, you can say, okay, it's your job to put the flowers to the puja every morning. Somebody else, he can serve water to the guests when they come, right? Small, small things like that. Answer the doorbell, bring the newspaper in. Small activities makes them feel that they are part of this, and that develops a hugely positive environment in the house, which is great because the whole household family needs to heal, not just the patient. The caregivers also go through a lot of support, a lot of distress. And once you're well, come out of it stronger with positive attitude, and remember that this disease came for a reason. So after you are well, you can do a little more deeper thinking about what had happened. It probably means that something had to shift in your life, right? Some realignment needs to take place. So go back to your life stronger, realign what needs to be fixed, incorporate all these good habits that you're going to learn in the 7-part series. And remember the law of karma. Yeah, life is an echo. When you give something, it comes back to you many, many times. And this is why I'm privileged to share my experience and my husband's experience with you, so that um, you can be healing much faster. Thank you.
And also, in the meanwhile, I am sharing my screen to show you a QR code, which you can use to join our cancer recovery support group that we're doing. Um, yeah, if you can see my screen. So you all you have to do is just scan the QR code that you see on your screens. It will take you to a Google form where you will have to fill a few details, and towards the end of the form, you will see a QR code and a link to join the WhatsApp group that we've created. We'll be shortly, mentioning the date and time of the first session that we're doing as part of the 7-part series that Sangeeta mentioned. So I request everyone to take a few minutes, give us your valuable feedback, and also take a few minutes to scan the QR code, fill in the information, and join our safe WhatsApp group.
Sangeeta ji, I think this session is extremely useful. I think it was very therapeutic, not only for the cancer patients, but also for the caregivers, their friends, family, relatives. I think it's extremely useful, and I hope that the 7-part series will also bring in more people and greater bonding among the people who are going through pain, because pain management is actually extremely important, uh, not only for the patient, but also for the people in the family. So thank you very much. Looking forward to continued interaction. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you. Thank you, Professor Vinod, for joining and for this valuable feedback. Since you brought up the issue of pain, I'd just like to say that there are studies which show that pain perception actually comes down when we do healing and we align our energy bodies and chakras. So it's not a lot of pain is about perception, but actually what the patient will feel, her and his level of pain drops dramatically with energy alignment. So that is an added benefit of coming into understanding things from the energy perspective, practicing the tools, practicing the healing. Yeah, so thank you.
We hope to see this uploaded on the Anugnia website, if possible, so that more
Uh,
people can benefit. Thank you.
yeah, I'm sure, Ethika and Anugya will
Correct.
post it on our YouTube channels, and we'll share with you. Definitely.
Yes, everybody who's registered for the session and could not join today for whatever reason will also get an email with the link to the recording of the session so that they can watch this at their convenience. But yeah, this will be available for all, all our clients and their employees as well. Thank you so much, Professor Vinod, for that wonderful feedback. Um,
Okay,
Sangeeta, we have one question in the chat from
yeah,
Sana. It says,
yes,
what advice would you give for people who are currently going through chemotherapy and radiation right now?
right. That's a good question. Thank you for bringing it up. Somebody who's going through chemo right now will find that they suffer from one or multiple common side effects of chemo, which are nausea, reduced appetite, hair fall, blackening of skin, all of that. So, what they actually indicate is that your immunity level has dropped dramatically. And there is a lot of weakness setting in the body because the body is not able to regenerate the cells as required. So for that, there are a couple of things to be done. One, 3000 BC Therapeutics has aromatherapy pack, which really helps with nausea and balancing the chakras. And we have even things like a lovely foot salt for a foot soak, which helps clean the energy body. So you can we can share that with anybody if they want. And the other thing is, in general, follow the five principles, right? Meditate, um, have keep a good diet, try and exercise as much as you can, because all those build your immune system to handle the attack of the chemo and the radiation, because chemo actually kills cells, right? And it reduces your immunity. So we need to work the other way to build the immunity. I
So,
hope that
Sangeeta, we have
answers
another
Sana's.
question
Yeah,
from Mohana. She's
right.
asking, my mom is undergoing treatment still for target therapy, and she wants to understand when to get a retest done to see if the cancer is completely cured.
Okay, so that your oncologist is the right person to guide you for that. Because as I mentioned, the mainline medicine, you should follow your oncologist and your physician's advice. All what we do is energy and complementary therapy, which supports all of that. So we don't give any medical advice to anybody on that issues. They know your mom's case the best. So please connect with your oncologist.
So, thank you everyone for joining us today and being part of this meaningful session. A heartfelt thank you to you, Sangeeta, for sharing such valuable insights with all of us. Your words truly made an impact. Before we wrap up, I'd like to, invite everyone to stay connected by scanning the QR code that we displayed on the screen. It'll
Yes.
also take you to our cancer support group on WhatsApp, and we'll share regular updates about upcoming sessions. Thank you once again for your time and presence. It truly means a lot, especially on a Friday.
Yes. Happy weekend, everyone. Stay well, stay blessed.